The Montreal Canadiens just teased something huge at practice as there was another face-off session with Marc Burrows, and there was a surprising player among the players taking face-off lessons. I cannot wait to get into that. Plus, we got to talk about Patrik Laine and some amazing skills he's shown at practice. Apologies for the vertical video, but look at that snipe. Not only that, he's looking fast on his feet, he's looking fluid, and he is looking dangerous. The more the videos come out, the more excited I get about Patrik Laine. That plus much more coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And Jesse, we're going to get straight into it, but I wanted to start with Ivan Demidov because he had another game today against Torpedo and our boy Bogdan Konyushkov, who was playing on Torpedo. This game was very interesting. This is just a little comparison because one of Torpedo's nice young players, Nikita Artamanov, has been having a great year this year. Just wanted to highlight the time on ice discrepancy there, the 11 minutes per game. Well, it didn't get much better for Ivan Demidov coming out of this game. As Coach Frenchie, who often gives these updates, Demidov 4:35 in the first period, and he only had about 2 minutes the rest of the game. Only 3 shifts in the last 40 minutes total. He was benched for the majority of the game, even though SKA won 4-1. Jesse, look, I don't have too many comments on this just because I don't feel like we need to be negative and say, look at how bad this is every single day. But it is interesting to see Demidov go up against another young star and get benched for seemingly no reason. I'm still excited for him because what I did see from today, every single time he stepped on the ice, he created a good opportunity.
That's the thing about him. Every time that he's on the ice, Ivan Demidov makes something happen. That's why we're so excited. And Josh, it's interesting to note that Hughes said recently, like when he's evaluating players that are good under adversity, that can kind of play well when the circumstances aren't the best, that's really telling about a player. And it's kind of shaping their decisions of like who they want to keep around. You know, when they were going through that losing streak, they were seeing who was kind of losing their composure and who was kind of keeping more a little bit even keel. Well, we know for Ivan Demidov that, you know, he's a steady type of guy. He knows not only how to bring that effort on the ice, but also how to keep himself prepared for when those moments do inevitably come. Obviously, much more loading here in Montreal. And we just can't wait because we know that he's the missing link. We have just such a strong foundation of really good players that flip different roles, complementary. But we know Demidov is that missing link for what we need. So definitely going to be that huge turning point for this team, and we can't wait for that.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's unreal. It's fun to watch him play anyway, even and against other teams with some nice young players as well. So just want to give you guys the update. Nothing too much on that front. Leave your own opinions down below what's going on there. We don't need to be too negative every day. So we're going to flip it on the positive side. We got some huge developments out of practice today, and oh boy, you're going to want to stick around to the end for this, who might just be turning into a center, maybe. But we got to first get into Patrik Laine, and I'm going to play this video again. This was crazy. Just seeing that shot. Look how, I'm going to replay that one again. Look how effortless this shot looks. And look how fast and oh my gosh, how hard that shot is. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited for Patrik Laine, but this is crazy. Just watching him in practice, Jesse, every single day, he seems to be gaining more and more mobility. He looks smoother. He's putting all his weight on that left leg. He's spinning around. He's doing a bunch of different stuff. I don't know, that clip of that shot today, it's one shot in what was probably a long practice. So am I extrapolating way too much from this one clip? Of course I am. Because why would I not? Because this guy is going to bring such a surge to the Habs offense, hopefully, as soon as he comes back. And it's looking like that's going to be so soon. I know we talk about him a lot every day, Jesse, but the more and more we're seeing him in practice, it genuinely feels like day after day, he's improving quite a bit.
He's ramping up quite a bit, and that skill and that creativity are absolutely fully there. And the nice thing, Josh, about him kind of coming back a little bit earlier from schedule means that there's less rust to kind of really take off his game. Like Marty said, like, will it take 1 game? Will it take 2 weeks? You have to feel like this shorter turnaround time just means he gets back into the motion of the game that much quicker, which is really so important for the Habs. And one thing to kind of note when we're looking at these clips from these practices is that Patrik Laine, he's got that shimmy shake too. Like, it's not just Lane Hutson. He is super deceptive in his play. So it just lends to the thought that he is going to pair so well with Lane Hutson. I am just beyond excited. We know the excitement that Lane Hutson brings when he's on the ice. We know that the reception was similar for Patrik Laine. It was just when they started seeing him build up that momentum, start chugging down the ice at full speed, make a move real quick. It's like how the Bell Center just lit up, right? Like, they absolutely love this player. To see Hutson and kind of Laine together, I mean, that's what we live for, that exciting, atmosphere in the Bell Center. So, I mean, obviously, we cannot wait for that.
I just got some chills down my spine imagining Patrik Laine's first goal. Like, as soon as he shoots it, I hope it's in Montreal. Regardless, his first goal in Montreal is going to have such an amazing reaction, and I know he's going to smile. Everyone across the NHL is going to smile. It's just so exciting to talk about Patrik Laine, to think that he could be back in just a few weeks' time. unbelievable stuff. What do you think about these new clips of Laine? Every day we get something new, and it's quite exciting. But Jesse, we got to move on to the final topic, something that's also extremely exciting. So, Stu Cowan, among other people like Arber Basu, Eric Engels, they all tweeted out how former NHLer Marc Burrows, who was working with the Habs centerman on faceoffs just a few weeks ago, it actually seemed to have some really good effects. The Habs got quite a bit better at faceoffs after this session. He was working with the Habs centerman again before the start of practice this morning. But who was that? Who was that right there among the other players? Well, that just might be our boy Slafkovsky. He is there among the centermen. Now, let me just show you who else is in this picture, because I know there's a lot of talk of, like, realistically, this could very well just be him trying to get reps in case he has to fill in for someone like Suzuki, even though on the top line right now, Dach is also a centerman who's also in this picture. If we zoom in, we got our centers, Suzuki, Evans, Kondata, and Dvorak, plus Dach and Newhook. Those are all guys that have played center for the Habs over the past year. And then there's Slafkovsky, who has never played center for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, again, he's a left-hand shot, and pretty much everyone else here except Kondata and Dvorak are right-hand shots, and Slav's center of the future is probably going to be Dach or Suzuki or someone we don't know yet, who are also right-hand shots, so it would make sense for him to practice taking faceoffs as well as the natural lefty for certain situations. But Jesse, like, this is a guy, like, looking at these lines, I'm starting to think, like, is Marty going to get creative? Is this something we might see? I mean, I'm liking Evans as the 2C right now, but this is something that genuinely wasn't even in my mind, and it's not like Slav has had a terrible faceoff record coming into this season. He was 15 wins, 15 losses on his career. What are your thoughts on this?
That is not completely without precedent. It's super unexpected. It's really intriguing. We see that there's kind of talks with the Leafs that they're interested in having Marner kind of play at that 2C role for them there. Why is no other winger kind of here? It's probably just to get some reps too, but the lack of any other kind of pure wingers in this is suspect. And you can definitely infer from something from this as well, because if Kirby Dach was winning his fair share of faceoffs, there's no way that Slav is here right now drilling, working with them. This is showing that they're considering it. They're thinking of it, and they're right to do so, at least as an experiment, as a thought process to really try out, because we know he has the defensive sensibilities. I think that he could kind of do that. He's actually functioned as a center quite a bit on the ice, when paired with some other players, given the situation there. So he could absolutely do it. He's big. So obviously we know how physical that faceoffs can be. And we know that the 2C is a really big position of need for the Habs, because if they don't, if it's not Dach, if Slav, they're going to find somebody for this role sooner than later, as they should. So I think that they're looking at some options here. We're definitely going to have to stay on top of this, because it's an interesting development.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know. This got me excited. Like, again, it just kind of came out of nowhere, because this is just not something I projected. And there still might not even be reason to think this is going to happen, but it's fun to think about. I mean, just these little teases, right? Like, why is it him? And why don't we see Anderson? Why don't we see Heineman? I mean, like, these guys, Heineman's a left-handed winger. I know he might not be on, like, part of the Habs' top 6 future plans, but, like, if you're going to do it with Slav, you'd think maybe there would be someone else, but there's not. And it's not like the team doesn't have any left-handed centers. We got Newhook and Dvorak, who very well could play center next to Slafkovsky. Probably not Dvorak, but next to Slafkovsky. You never know. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm taking more out of this than I need to, but it's genuinely exciting, again, knowing that he has played that role, especially when he's been paired with Newhook on the ice among some other line mates. Like, Slav has functioned at times like a center. He'd still have a lot to learn. We'd have to see a lot to come from that. But my gosh, Jesse, this got me probably more hyped than I should have gotten. But I want to hear everyone's thoughts down below. What do you think about Juraj Slafkovsky potentially being a center of the future for the Montreal Canadiens? I know Demidov wants to play center himself. We got Suzuki, we got Evans, but, like, the idea that Slav could fill in that role if he needs to, well, it's pretty exciting to us. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all the support you guys have been showing us. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.